Well, I'm Cortland Nelson. I'm Director of DNR, Minnesota Parks and Trails, and with me tonight are Jason and Sarah. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. And they have, as far as we know, accomplished a first for this year, 2009. They're the first folks that have been to all 72 geocaches. So before we get into that, maybe I could ask both of you to take a second and introduce yourself and where you're from and what you do.
I'm Sarah Geisel from Belle Plaine, and I work at the State Bank of Belle Plaine. I'm a bank teller.
I'm Jason Geisel. I'm originally from the Sauk Rapids St. Cloud area, but I am now living in Belle Plaine, Minnesota, and teaching in Jordan.
I just learned a few minutes ago that this wasn't your first year geocaching. Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've got here?
Last year we did the History Challenge, and so we just have the state of Minnesota. We made a mark for where each of the geocache parks were. We have each of the regional coins, the final 72 coin, and the second-tennial coin.
And how long were you at that effort to try and get around the state last year? Do you remember?
It took us about 6 weeks to finish it.
6 weeks. Okay. And in any typical trip, how many parks are you able to get at as you?
Weekends, yeah, anywhere from about a dozen to 20.
Every time we went to a state park, we just put the history card in the baseball sleeve, and we were able to, put one in each one, collect them all 72 last year for the history parks, or the history challenge. And then we started the same thing again this year, and then we started adding our coins in, and also our Passport Club patches, so that was kind of nice too. So we were lucky enough to get a wild card in there too.
So you've got all of the cards, and on the reverse, in each case, there's a readout, a printout of the animal that's covered in the Wildlife Challenge, and tells you a little bit about habitat and some information about the animal. Getting back to the trip itself, did you guys think, as you prepared for going out this year, that you wanted to get done by a certain date? I understand you have an important date coming up here in the near future, which is?
Our wedding.
Your wedding. So you had to squeeze this in. How did you plan this year's trip?
I coach volleyball, so it just happened to work out that one weekend. We were way out in southwestern Minnesota, and so we, after a volleyball tournament, went out and started geocaching, and I think we did 10 or 11 that weekend. And then after we did that 10 or 11, we just said, we're all in. And we went from there. Each weekend, we were able to plan.
How many weeks were you out this year?
We were out for a total of 4 weekends. We would have finished last weekend, but we didn't realize there was an alternate cache at Zipple Bay for the Garden Island cache. It was a wonderful hike. It was about a half-hour hike, three stages,
okay.
right on Lake of the Woods there. So that was awful nice and a good way to finish it up.
A memorable finish. Are there any other site visits that you remember because they were easy or odd or something unusual or funny happened?
They've got some creative caches this year, a little bit more creative. Some of the hikes are a little easier, but you have to think a little bit more finding some of the caches.
Now maybe explain what would make a cache placement a little bit more difficult. What would be an example of that?
It's kind of the way that the rangers or whoever has hidden the cache, the way that it's hidden. We won't give any parks names away to ruin the surprises for people, but there was one cache in particular where there was already a tree stump there, and the ranger, whoever hid the cache, took a chainsaw and cut a very nice flat piece off the top, and then took the chainsaw and cut out an area for the final cache. And it just fit perfect, and if you weren't looking close enough, you wouldn't realize that a cache was hidden there.
What kind of suggestions would you have for families or for kids who enjoy this kind of an activity, or others in terms of getting out and doing the geocache?
Do not bushwhack. All the park rangers and everybody we've talked to, they're hidden very close to trails, within 5 or 10 feet of the trail. So everything is right there. You don't need to crisscross any trails. Just go back, retrace your route, and maybe take a different trail and really, really, really look at that park map.
Okay.
So.
Good. Any other suggestions, Sarah, that you can think of?
Bring your bug spray.
Bring your bug spray. Always a good thing in Minnesota.
Yep.
Always a good thing. Well, we've got a little award here for you guys. We took the poster that's behind you and we put your photo beneath it. So we hope that maybe on a table at your reception that you'll find a place, and it's just simply congratulations to Jason and Sarah for the first to complete the Geocache Wildlife Safari, June 6, 2009. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cortland.
You're welcome.